So we're gonna start with the meditation, and then we're gonna go right inside the into the healing journey. So what I did, I was inspired by this idea of the hero's journey. I don't know if you've heard about it. And we're gonna go through all the steps of the hero's journey, and I'm gonna link the hero's journey to the healing journey, and how this journey is related to also to the body. So we have around an hour and a half, and we're gonna do our best to fill that time with a lot of information. I would be interested if you have like a notebook next to you, so that you can write some notes. We're gonna start with a meditation. Please, let's all sit comfortably. If just in any position. If you're sitting on a chair, just be on the chair. If you're sitting or laying down, you can also be very comfortable. You can also, like, if you have a blanket, you can just sit with your blanket. And we're gonna close our eyes. I'm gonna start with a little sound with my singing bowl. I don't know if you see it. So I'm gonna start with a sound, and I would just close your eyes and listen to the sound until it ends. Let's take a deep breath in. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Just coming into your space, coming into the where you are right now, breathing into oxygen, breathing into your own space, into your own body. And just relax into the floor. Feel the weight of your body. And if you have your eyes open, you can just look at the color or a shape inside the room. And if you have your eyes closed, just allow yourself to feel all the sensations that are present right now. Just feel the comfort of being on the floor, or on the chair, or on the sofa. Take a few deep breaths in. Calm the nervous system, calm your mind. Release the day that you had. And let's all come into this space right now. Take one more deep breath in. And open your eyes. Let's move the hands a little bit. Just shake it out a little bit if you feel like shaking it out, maybe to the sides. And maybe up, or maybe stretching sideways over the right side, over the left side, whatever comes up. Maybe giving it a yawn. As if you're just waking up from the sleep. Maybe moving side to side, just moving the spine a little bit, because we're gonna be seated and listening to a lot of information for like an hour, so it would be nice to. Now you can move the shoulders up and down. Take a deep breath in, shake it all out, and the head. Maybe you can also like give it a stretch to the sides, whatever feels good. Make a sound, make a gesture. Maybe bring a smile on your face. Shake it up. Okay, nice. Let's end it. Let's start. So, today I prepared a presentation. I'm not very good at presentations, but I did that for you guys. And because you deserve it. So, basically, I wanted to start with the journey of. Maybe I'm gonna start with a little bit about what trauma is, and then we're gonna be going into the journey of healing. So for me, trauma is basically any experience that has been overwhelming in our life. And basically what happens, let's say if there was a moment of fear, if there was a moment of a shock, or something that happened, a divorce, a breakup, maybe you leaving your job, something at school, something at when you were a child. So anything that has overwhelmed you emotionally, it gets stuck in the body, and we go into, let's say, a movement or a sensation that overwhelms the whole body. And so and that energetic charge, or the emotional charge that gets stuck inside the body, is basically called the trauma. Okay? And the interesting thing is that 90% of people have been traumatized once in their life, at least once in their life. So this is not something that that we shouldn't be talking about. This is something that everyone should be talking about, starting from grade 1, starting from even before grade 1, as you are like being born and growing up. Parents should be informed of what trauma is. So, so the emotional charge that we are talking about, this is basically the journey that will take us into how we can really dive into our trauma and turn it into our power, instead of looking at it as this negative faraway land where we're like super lost at how we're going to be dealing with this trauma and what is trauma. We're gonna bring it closer to us, we're gonna understand it, and really dive into the details of the healing journey. And because there's so much misinformation, misguidance around the healing journey and trauma. So this workshop is really a big responsibility for me, and personally I'm taking I'm really like being very careful of what words I use and how I explain things. So please, whenever you come up with a question or a comment, please write it down, because I would love feedback. Okay. So mainly what I do is I study the body, and in my practice and what I teach, I study the body and how trauma gets stuck inside the body. It's mainly this emotional charge that I was talking about. Whenever we get anxious, whenever we get sad, whenever we get fear. And what happens is that trauma, when it's stuck inside the body, it reoccurs again and again. It doesn't stop, it doesn't go away. So basically, whenever you are meeting someone, or when you're hearing a word or you're getting into a relationship, this person will trigger that same memory that you, in the moment that you had the trauma, because it's always happening inside the body, it doesn't stop. So, um, so when we are talking about something that is stuck, we need to also talk about how we can release that stuckness, right? So that we can come into our full potential. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. And other than that, what I can say is that trauma is not something that um, it is not unnatural. It is something that is very natural, and we need to be able to get triggered, understand our triggers, and live through our triggers. In order, life has been structured in that way. There are always two polarities in this life. Okay, let's say there's fear, and when there's no fear, there's also no love, right? So there's always in life, there's this law of polarity that we need to live with. There's always this, okay, we need to be afraid of something so that we can love something as well. But the thing is, when we're not going into the healing journey, what's happening is that everything is being fearful. Everything we're seeing is becoming part of our fear. So what we are going to learn today is basically how can we see this fear that is not part of who we are, and turn it around, release it, and how we can go into the journey to release this fear in order to connect with something called healthy fear, right? Because there will be fear in our life, but it will be healthy. There will be anger in our life, but how we deal with it is in a healthy way. How we express our anger is basically the way we would want to express our anger. When we express sadness, it's our way of expressing sadness, and we're getting closer into who we are authentically, who we are, the real who we are, like not the masked who we are. Okay, so I created this interesting, I'm gonna share a screen. So we're gonna start with the beginning. We're gonna start with Call to Adventure, which is basically this experience I was talking to you about, which is a sudden storm, a death, or a breakup, or something happens in your life that you are called into going into adventure, right? So this is when we are basically getting in a shock, we have this experience of, oh my god, we're overwhelmed emotionally, we're overwhelmed within our lives. There's this charge, the emotional charge, there's this fear that is happening. And so this experience either pulls us into going into the healing journey or pulls us into going into stuckness. So this is the first stage, is the call to adventure, right? What most of the time happens is that what we do, even for me, I mean, I had so many calls to adventure, right? We always have calls to adventure, calls to get out of this world, basically. Our Either it's our family, either it's our school. Something happens in our lives that always calls us to go into, okay, how can I what do I do now? We have this existential crisis. We're going into shock. We're going into panic attacks, and we have no idea what's going on in our lives, and we're just following the society, what society is trying to tell us, what the family is trying to tell us, what the culture is trying to tell us. So we're starting off with a lot of things to process, right? And there's so many times there's calls to adventure. I mean, for me, I can't even count my coast to adventures, which is something that, let's say you go into an experience, it's a shocking experience, and then there's another one, and then there's another one, and then there's another one, until a big one hits and comes right into your face, until you wake up and say, okay, I'm just not gonna live with this anymore. I do not want this in my life anymore. I'm not gonna go on living my life this way. This is when you make this choice, okay? And this is basically any experience that happens in our lives. Maybe some people have so many experiences. For me, there were so many experiences in my school, in my university, when I was in a job, when I was a kid, when my father passed away, and even before, when I grew up, when I went into relationships, everything was so messed up in a way. And I'm like, who am I? What am I doing here? Why am I even in this relationship? What do I want in my life? So there's complete uncertainty. There's complete chaos. There's complete misunderstanding of who you really are. So this is the healing. This is the first thing, the call to adventure. And this is something you get over. It's a feeling that okay, now I'm just gonna slow down and see what I can do about this, because I had enough, right? Which is the refuser of answering the call. And the refuser to answer the call is basically the fear, the insecurity, the comfort zone, right? So this is where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna stay in my bubble. I'm just gonna stay with my fears. I'm gonna give up on life. I'm gonna give up on my dreams. I'm gonna give up on family, relationship, or whatever hope you used to have as a child, or passion that you used to have as a child. You're just gonna give up on that and go into surrendering into your insecurities, basically, into the person that you are not. Okay? And this is what I love about this journey. It's because it has mostly all of the details that you will go through when you choose to go into the healing journey. So there's always this, okay, do I choose this? Do I want to, sometimes it's not a choice. I will admit. Sometimes it's really like you're so overwhelmed that the fears, the doubts, the uncomfort takes over, that we go into understanding the whole idea of fear and the whole idea of insecurity in a different way. So we stop seeing the reality of what is really happening in our lives, right? So this is the moment where you're like refusing the call. It means that you want to, it's like you think that what you are living right now is the best life that you can have, which most of the people are stuck with nowadays. So a lot of people get stuck in the, okay, I'm gonna live with fear all of my life. I'm gonna live with this stuckness all of my life. This is how life is, this is what also our parents say. You need to suffer in order to feel alive. You need to life is hard, you need to keep going. You need to go fighting every single time, so that you are able to reach somewhere. And this is not the way we need to live anymore. Life is changing. The times are changing, and we are being called, the people that we are here right today, we are being called into a different reality. We are being called to take the leadership into this new reality that is already being created, right? So So it's just about answering the call. And now you know the difference between people who haven't answered the call and people who have answered the call. If you have questions about this, I will answer that later. I'm going to go into the third one, which is finding a mentor. This is a very important step in your healing journey. Here at the upper level, before meeting the mentor, there's the ordinary reality. The reality that most of us are living in right now. But I will also give you details of, I mean, this whole chart, this whole graph is not only about, it's not a one time thing, it's a constant thing. It comes and goes, it comes and goes. You go into the loop and then go out of the loop. That's why it's a spiral. So don't look at it as something that happens only once in my life. It will happen so many times in your life. This is part of the healing journey. This is part of how we deal with our trauma, because trauma is not something that happens only once. It happens several times. We get triggered again, something comes up, we remember something, and we go into healing it, and we go back into the same spiral. The same spiral repeats itself several times in our lives, and this is part of the healing journey, and this is the fun part of it, and it's going to get even more fun. So the time that we meet the mentor, this could be a physical person, it could be a book, it could be someone in the family, it can be even a mentor that is within. So if you are a creative person or an artist or someone who is doing this journey as a creative person, for me, for example, my healing journey was dancing. So whenever I used to go into stuckness, I used to go and express myself. I didn't know what healing was in the beginning. So my inner mentor was the dance, basically. This is how it started. But then I needed some other people's guidances. This is why I went out and finding other people and mentors and people that I can trust, that I can connect with, so that I can so that I can have guidance, a little bit more guidance in my journey. And this is very important. Now that you are here in this workshop, it means that you are asking for a little bit more information, a little bit more clarity in what's happening in my life. So choosing the right mentor is very important, because even in choosing the mentor, there is a lot of questioning that will happen. I will go into this right now. So after the mentor, there's the crossing the threshold. So this is the fourth step. You cross the threshold of accepting that you are going through a change, that you want to go through a change. So this is the most essential. This is also an essential part where you are basically choosing to cross over to this other reality, or this other consciousness, or this other way of seeing the world. You've tried everything and now you want to try something else. Okay, so this is also a step where we sometimes get into okay, no, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna just forget about all of this, and I'm gonna live my life in fear and insecurity one more time. So this is also a very critical moment in the healing journey. And after that comes the tests, the allies, the enemies, the obstacles. So this is what I was talking about. This is where there's a lot of questioning. But I also wrote here commitment and worthiness. So these are very important, two important words: commitment and worthiness. So basically, this is when you are getting tested on, okay, and you're asking all of these questions. Do I have the right mentor? Am I on the right path? What am I doing? If I'm doing things right, am I healing what I'm supposed to heal? Am I really tapping into the clarity? Because sometimes when we are when we have an understanding of something, we go back into our lives and we're like, oh, this is happening one more time. How do I deal with this? My mentor is not helping me, so I need to find someone else. I need to read another book. I need to go to another person, or maybe start listening within a little bit more. So this is the point where you have to find something. You have to find there will be a lot of tests, there will be a lot of people coming into your life, and you're like, is this the right person for me? This is the time where you need to question a lot. You need to question, who is the right person I need to listen to? Who can I trust? What is the right path to go into? Is this really how I'm dealing with my fears? Is this really is this my goal? Is this my intention? Where am I headed? You're asking questions, you're getting information from people, you're getting guidance from your mentor, and you're asking questions to your mentor. Not everything, and when I say mentor, again, remember, it's either your art, it's either your practice, it's either meditation, it's either going on into nature and maybe discovering something. Whatever the healing journey is, in your case, it is the mentor, basically. I'm not talking always about a physical person. So this is the time where you're asking the questions, where you're really diving into the details, and really understanding, am I doing the right thing? This is where also I would really work on the beginning. The beginning is all about, preparation and getting into I wrote commitment and worthiness, right? There is commitment in this journey. There is commitment not to the healing journey, but to yourself. You deserve to go out of this reality and find something different. You deserve to find the love that you are looking for. You deserve to find the people that will treat you in the way you want to be treated. You deserve to find the job that you enjoy. You deserve to find the art that you enjoy, and create and share and be and love and do, and not, basically, not live from a place of survival and trauma and fear, and go into a different dimension. This is what I'm talking about when I say special reality, and when I talk about ordinary reality. It's basically the difference between living from fear and or survival, and living outside of survival, right? So we want to live outside of survival, but and how to do that, this is what I'm sharing with you today. And it's very important, because because I do want you to go out of survival. I do want to help you understand what are the things that you are doing right, and what are the things that you might want to change in your life, in your path, in your journey, and what are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, right? Worthiness is about it's really the beginning of the journey, worthiness, because there's a lot of unworthiness, okay? Unworthiness is basically we talk a lot about, I'm unworthy of love, or I'm unworthy of finding this right person, I'm unworthy of this job, I'm unworthy of planting this of this house, or of this whatever comes your way, you feel unworthy. So worthiness is something that we really need to focus on in the beginning of the journey. And it can be through meditation, it can be through connecting with people who feel worthy of themselves. It could be about just talking about worthiness. And this is something that is really interesting. It gets very interesting when we talk about worthiness with other people. So open the conversation of worthiness, because this is your anchor. This is going to be your anchor to get into the whole other journey. It's like this worthiness, okay, and then there's all the fears that are we're gonna go into other the interesting part right now. And anything that comes your way, you're like, okay, I'm worthy of this, I'm worthy of what's coming after this, right? So that's a very important word. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast or I'm giving too much information, but it's I would really love if this was live, and I have like a board and I can write on it, or really have it as an experience, but it's okay. So I'm gonna share the screen again. So now we're at 4, 5, 6. Okay, the 6th point is approaching to the innermost cave. Okay, so this is basically I wrote intention, preparation, iterations, metamorphosis, breathing, reflecting, planning ahead. So approaching to the inmost cave. Okay, so this is something that is important to talk about because first of all, let's focus on the word approach and the word cave. So this is when we're like we're standing in front of the cave, and the cave is basically a metaphor of the body. Okay, the cave is a metaphor of the unknown inside the body. It's and we're like preparing ourselves to go into the unknown. This is the moment of preparation. After you get all of the information, you're getting the practices with your mentor. You're like preparing yourself. You're doing this meditation. You're listening to this talk. You're going into this mentor. You're going and listening to this workshop. You're going and reading this book. You're checking this quote on Instagram. Whatever you are doing, then you need to go inside the cave. You need to go inside the body. You need to go inside this flesh and bone, these shoulders, these hands, these chest, this heart, this belly, these legs. You need to go into there, because this is where we need to do the work. Whatever information you get mentally, or read, or understand mentally, it's not enough. This is a crucial step. You need to really understand what is a cave and what is the approach. It's also about the intention that you are setting for yourself. So this is where we need to also clarify the intention. What is it that we really want in our lives? Is it peace? Is it happiness? Is it love? Is it being more present? Is it being more inside the body? Is it being more open and in love with life? Is it being more alive? Is it being more authentic, being able to express ourselves even more authentically? These are intentions. Or maybe listening, how can I this and in the beginning it's really about little intentions, small intentions, like how can I listen to my body even more? How can I connect to nature? How can I listen to this element? How can I connect with this person? What is my fear trying to tell me? These are also intentions. Questions you ask about your own body and your own way of living are also intentions, and very important intentions actually. So the approach, the way you are going into this journey needs to be with respect towards yourself, with honoring your body. We don't want to bypass the body. We don't want to bypass the journey itself. So it's really about respecting your body, respecting and honoring your journey, instead of jumping into something else, bypassing the body, maybe even hurting yourself even more, because Because we're already going from outside of fear. We are choosing to go outside of the survival mode. So why to get stuck again? Okay? So really, this is the time when we are really slowing down. We are really slowing down. For me, it took me 2 years, let's say, to really start, okay, I can approach a little bit more. I can take another step. This is why I called the workshop stepping outside of the box. It's not one step, it's several steps, right? It's like, okay, I'm ready to take this step. And then I take the other step. And then I take another step. This journey is a very slow journey, guys. It's a very gentle journey. So we're gonna go into the other point. Okay. So this is where we are basically going into initiation, meeting the shadow self, underworld, the goddess. And then there's the ultimate boon, which is the enlightenment or the reward. Okay, I'm going to be talking about these two now. And I want you to see this inside. There's separation in the beginning, there's initiation in the second, and then there's the return. Okay? I think I have to go a little faster. Okay, so there's separation, initiation, and then there's the return. I'm gonna talk about these a little bit later. Okay, there's this other slide I'm gonna be showing you, so I'm gonna be talking about this. But initiation, I'm gonna link it to what I'm gonna be talking about now around the shadow self and the enlightenment, the ultimate boon. So I'm gonna stop sharing. So meeting the shadow self or death, I wrote finding love in the underworld, meeting with the god or the goddess, whatever you call it. So this is where we are entering. We approach the cave, and now we're going to go inside the cave, and this is where basically the work starts to happen inside the body. Okay, all of the practices that we do, such as meditation, such as yoga, such as breath work, or whatever practice that you do in your life right now, is to prepare you to go inside the body. We still have not yet tapped into the body, and I'm sure of this. Unless I'm sure if you are a creative person, and if you are creating through, let's say, a form of ritual, or through a form of tapping inside the sensations of the body, or tapping into a certain fear, a certain emotion, this is a way to go inside, go into this stage of healing, going into the body. So the healing journey is basically like the cave, like going inside the cave, seeing the cave. And the cave, at first, it's going to be dark, right? And we need a flashlight, or we need some light to see around inside the cave, to see how the shape of the cave, if there's water inside the cave, if there are trees inside the cave, if there are small holes, if the cave is going to take us into a different journey or not. I'm explaining basically the body here. Okay, we're going into the shadow of the body, we're going into the darkness of the body, because inside the body there is no light, it's dark. We cannot see the inside the body. I cannot open my chest, oh, this is my heart, hello, and then I close it again. That doesn't work that way. So I need to bring the light inside to see a little bit what's happening inside my chest, right? This is what it means to say bring light into the darkness or whatever. But we don't get, I want you to understand it as if you are inside the cave. When you are inside the body, there will be sensations, there will be emotions, there will be fear, anger, sadness, and all of these things. So here, this is the time when you are really feeling and expressing and healing these things. Okay, this is the important part of this is where we are doing the healing. This is when, let's say, instead of the cave, we can use the metaphor of the forest, for example. And in many traditions, what they do is they send the boy or the youngest male in the family, they send him into the wilderness by himself. Has anyone done that? So this was a ritual that people used to do, and it was very normal when a boy or a girl, they are already in their teenagers, in their puberty, they would go into the forest, so by themselves. And this was the stage when they're like, okay, what do I do with myself? Okay, who am I? How do I interact with this environment? How do I interact with this tree? Where do I sit? How do I eat? What do I like to eat? How do I walk? Do I run or walk? Do I sit or stand? Do I work out in the morning, or do I do a yoga session in the evening? These are ways you're like getting to know yourself all over again. You're inside the forest by yourself and looking at everything again, looking at everything one more time from fresh eyes. This is the inner cave. This is when we are going into the mother, into the goddess that I said. And in our practice, when we are talking about the body, we talk about also there is this somatic practice which is integrated in so many different ways of expression in arts that that not a lot of people talk about. So I will do another workshop about somatics and somatics, and how do we tap into somatics inside the body, and this is mainly done through a practice rather than talking. And basically, this is where we are listening to the body. This is where we are expressing our feelings from the body. We are sensing our fears. We are sensing the underlying reasons behind our stories. Basically, we are uncovering the story. We are rediscovering, unlearning what we learned from society and culture, from the family and the mother and the father, and relearning everything one more time. We're looking at everything from a clear perspective. And this is very important stage as well, because most people, they come into the healing journey and they're looking at everything again from the eyes of the survival. Okay? And we need to change that. We need to see things from a place of, oh, this is new. How do I look at this? How do I see this again one more time? What is my perspective about this thing? Certain emotion or certain sensation. It's all new, right? This is why we call it the journey into the unknown. We call it the journey of stepping into the unknown. It's really not unknown. We know it all. We just need to see it. And then you know it again. You remember. So life is about remembering. We talk a lot about the unknown. Let's talk about remembering. Right? And we're gonna go into, let me see if I missed anything. Yeah. So there's this enlightenment or the reward. The reward is basically, or the enlightenment or the ultimate boon, is basically your you're finding who you finally are. You're finding your power. You're expressing yourself. You're finally getting to know who you are. What is your gift? What are you here to do? You know, and really tapping into yourself without the survival, without the guilt, the shame, the jealousy, the sensations that have been keeping you away from life. But now you are experiencing the fear, the guilt, and the shame, and the fear, all of that in a different light. You are a different person. And then comes the realm of the wild woman or the man. Now you are into the wild, in the wild, you are in the forest, and you have become part of the forest. You have become part of the wilderness. You are a different man, you are a different woman. And here you go into refusal of the return, which is basically a time where you are, whoa, I don't want to come out of this forest. I want to stay inside this forest. And so this is also a tricky part. Yeah. This is the part where, a lot of people get stuck in. And they're like, okay, I'm gonna stay in the enlightenment. I'm gonna stay in the light. I'm gonna enjoy my beingness. I'm gonna live life alone. I'm gonna meditate all my life. I'm gonna be peaceful and surrender into the unknown. But it doesn't work that way, because we need to start going out of the woods, out of the wilderness, and share our wilderness with other people and tell them, oh my God, this is how wild I am, and I need to share this with you. And and you're like seeing your insecurities, seeing who you are in a completely different way. But then you need to bring this out. You need to carry it with worthiness and commitment, and take it with you into the real world, back again. So we're not staying only inside the special reality all the time. This is when also I talk about integration, which is a very important topic, and no one talks about it. Whenever we're meditating around a certain emotion, or a certain memory, or a certain thought, I didn't talk about thoughts today a lot, but whatever your practice is, whatever you are healing right now, whatever that is coming up, integration is about bringing it in, embodying what you're learning. Seeing the mentor, understanding his or her learning, and then letting go of the mentor. You don't need to stay attached to the learning. You become the learning. You become the teaching. You don't stay attached to the forest. You become the forest. And this is integration. You don't stay connected, attached to, not connected, sorry, attached to certain things and objects and ideas and who you were before and who you are now. There's this process of becoming and unbecoming, because you are a body, a soul. There's no need for attachment. Everything that comes into your body, it goes out of your body, like food or water. You drink the water, you get the nourishment, and you let go of what you don't need, the toxics. You eat food, you get the nourishment of the food. This was so tasty, I loved it, and then you let go of that of that nourishment, of whatever is left behind, right? We're always in a constant flow of receiving and giving. So what we receive in this journey, we need to also share it, give it, bring it out into the real world. And this is why I'm doing this workshop. And now we're going into the last two points. I'm going to share the screen again. So the last 2 points, master of the true two worlds. I don't want you to get also attached to the words, because these are just words that I've put based on different forms of uh, different research that I did, but just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But here you are a master of the two worlds because you saw yourself in the survival, and now you are seeing yourself in the wild, as a wild person, as an authentic person. So here there's acceptance of your gifts, there's cleansing and purification, because cleansing and purification are a process that we need to do on a constant basis. I will talk about it. So here you are basically, I also talked about this, accepting your gift, integrating your gift into your body, uh, um, seeing that this is not this is a gift, it's not yours. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about gifts. We get a gift, and then we need to let it go. We either share it or we play with someone else. We share the gift with someone else, right? And cleansing and purification is about basically when we are going into the body, when we are going into the cave, we're gonna go out dirty, right? We're gonna get out of it. We're messed up. There's mud on our feet. We are a bit tired, so we need to cleanse the body. Maybe take a shower, stay in bed for a couple of days, and then get a fresh start. Going into the sea, taking a swim, whatever feels like a cleanse for you. I will talk about this a bit more in the second slide. Now there's the final stage. I'm just gonna share the screen. Okay, the final stage is basically return with special knowledge, which is the gift. It could be love, it could be wisdom, it could be simply the experience of surviving the special reality, which is basically you are also in some cultures they basically come and tell you a story. Or for example, if I would talk about my healing journey today, that would have been my story. Maybe I would do that another time. So my story, how I went into the healing journey, how I went into my body, how I went into my cave, this is also a return. This is also a gift. Sometimes we get so stuck that we didn't have a gift, or weren't able to achieve anything. But the story of not achieving something, or the story of getting somewhere, is actually a gift, you know. And we use it to heal a physical or emotional wound, or accomplish tasks that had been feared in the ordinary reality. So this is where we are also getting the courage to be able to change something in the world. Maybe it's something related to the environment, it's something related to animals, it's something related to the crisis, or even simple things in the family, in the structure of a certain school, or a certain modality, or whatever. And this is what I always do, changing and shifting things and re-understanding things. And the final stage is distributing the rewards, celebrating the journey. This is a very important stage as well. So basically, here we are able to own our stories. We are able to see, okay, I was afraid of this before, and now I'm ready to shift that understanding, and I'm going to share with other people how I changed that idea about myself, how I started to see my fears in a different way. Or maybe it could be how I do my art. Now the way I express myself has changed, and how did I learn to change that? I share it with other people. That's my gift. It's not the end result. Sometimes, yeah, in this world, in this world we have become about, everything has become about the end result, but it's about the process, right? Whenever you have an art gallery, when you go inside an art gallery, you don't look at the art, you look at the process. You look at what did the artist feel when he was coloring this pencil like this, when he was using this color. What story are we looking at? What is the feeling that we are seeing? It's about the story. So this is the healing journey, basically. Going out of survival into acceptance, into worthiness, into love, into wisdom. Getting the juice from your body. There's no more stuckness, right? It starts with your story. It starts with you. It's not about the other. And this is very important. Sometimes we get lost in the other. Well, how am I treating my partner? It's not you, it's about you. It's your way. How you treat yourself will be reflected on how your partner will treat you. And then there's connecting with your authentic self, and always remembering that there's nothing wrong with you. It's all part of the process. What your job is in the healing journey is to only create a container, a safe space for you to find or remember your most authentic self. That's it. That's the only job you need to do. There's no doing in the healing world, in the healing journey. The only thing is creating the container. So Anna, for me, the healing journey is about finding a safe center inside your body. That's it. And the rest will flow. And the rest will come. You're only creating a nest for your babies to grow, for your authentic self to reveal itself. Yeah? There's no doing.